Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Zarhaoui Oumaima. I am a PhD student at the University Moulay Ismail of Meknes. I have the honor to present you our research work, data-driven for supplier selection problem and evaluation. The plan is as follows. We will first start with an introduction, then we will go on with the research background, and just after methods and results, and finally the conclusion and bibliographic references. For the introduction, in an uncertain environment full of fluctuation and daily changes, mastering the supply chain is a task that takes the breath away from the players in its links, of which supply is one, a catalyst in the chain, which provides the company with all the resources it needs for its activity, whatever its sector of activity. Delivering a quality product in the best time and at the lowest cost is the problem of today's companies. This is our issue. So today, data analysis creates a problem for great magnitude in most organizations at the level of the corresponding supply chain. A supply chain network is a complex and typical system that presents characteristics of complex microstructures, macro-emergences, and dynamic evolutions that require in-depth analysis of large data to anticipate actions or to take strategic, tactical, or operational decisions. Data collection, data selection and sorting, data classification, data analysis, evaluation, and data quality are the key elements of a successful supply chain. This is why our work is focused on strategic sourcing and more precisely the problem of supplier selection. In order to frame our work, we started with a systematic mapping study. For the mapping question, several questions have defined my research that I cannot announce today to keep the confidentiality of my paper. Regarding the research strategy, it's based on 3 different databases: Scopus, Google Scholar, Web of Science, which are considered to be large databases containing articles from various disciplines such as computer science, mathematics, physics, engineering, business, biology, and medicine. For paper selection, the selection of working papers is made from an extraction that has been elaborated, revised, shared, and chosen in working meetings by all the authors according to several sorting criteria, such as title, abstracts, keywords, and finally, if the paper meets the criteria of the selection, inclusion, or exclusion. The strategic sourcing, as explained previously in the issue, we focus on the strategic sourcing and more precisely, the problem of supplier selection. So the strategic sourcing is an approach to supply chain management that formalizes how information is collected and used so that an organization can use its consolidated purchasing power to find the best possible value in the marketplace and align its purchasing strategy with business objectives. Since strategic sourcing consists of the company's collaboration with its suppliers, we decided to focus on the development strategy stage to conduct more research on these aspects in order to develop a mathematical model that will help companies in their development and facilitate their decision-making. For the supply selection problem, the selection of suppliers becomes a strategic decision that has a crucial impact on the global performance of any company. This decision aims to create and maintain a strong and efficient supplier network necessary for the customer to meet the growing competitive challenges. The supplier selection problem can be analyzed from 2 aspects: the determination of the number of suppliers and the form of relations with them. This depends on the characteristics of the company, product, and markets. The selection of the best suppliers in the existing ones. Regarding the supplier selection criteria, we have several exploratory and empirical studies on the problem of supplier selection and evaluation have appeared in the literature to show the strategic importance of this problem. So we take just 2 examples from Dixon and Weber and al. The number of investigations realized by Dixon is 274 Canadian and American firms. He was able to identify 23 criteria used by companies to select their suppliers, which are presented in the following slide. The study showed that the choice of suppliers is a multi-criteria decision that involves price, delivery time, and quality, and that it's difficult to find a supplier that excels everywhere. Regarding Weber, they showed that the criteria evoked by Pixon are still valid, even though the relative importance of each of the criteria has changed following the evolution of the industrial context and the concept of just-in-time. For the weight of the supplier selection criteria, we have a lot of criteria like price, delivery, quality, production capacity, geographical localization. This criterion is not generic. The order of importance of the criteria depends on the level of requirements of the customers, its activity sectors, and the criticality of the products and the type of the relation that it plans to create with the suppliers. For the methods of sourcing suppliers, we have a lot of methodology like weighting, AHP, FCT, costs based on method, statistics, categorization, and intelligence. And we have some advantages and disadvantages from each method. Supplier modeling as a dynamic system. For the input value, we have control variant and environmental variant. They include control variables used by the supplier to achieve a specific performance and environmental variables such as market developments, actions of competitors, and which are not completely under the control of the suppliers. For the status value, they are responsible with the input variables for the dynamics of the output variables of the system, which is the supplier, to define the status value, the resources-based theory is used. For the output variables, this corresponds to the supplier's performance and are of two classes: manufacturing performance, such as cost, quality, lead time, and flexibility, and services and technological performance, such as innovation features of the products purchased. So the question is how we evaluate a supplier. The evaluation of suppliers starts with the evaluation of the criteria already mentioned in the selection of suppliers. For the objective method, the objective assessment based on the data previously gathered in order to choose the most appropriate provider. It is based on fact. It is not reviewable. Determine the weight assigned to each significant criteria if it is met and create enough to provide a well-defined outcome. For the subjective evaluation, subjective assessment carried out with the use of questionnaires allows for the consideration of not only internal consumers but also of individuals from outside of the business in order to make informed decisions. For the results, my work will consist in the development of smart method using mathematical programming and multi-criteria decision-making and big data technology to solve problems related to the selection of suppliers. The implementation of the found methods will be tested on a Moroccan company specialized in mass distribution, which will allow us to publish the results in international conferences and journals. To conclude, the selection of suppliers is a very complex process which depends on several factors such as the sector of activity, the type of relationship to be entered between the customer and the suppliers. The various works in this file show that the triple QCD, quality, cost, lead time, remains the most used in this process. These criteria and others are sometimes conflicting, which makes the supplier selection process complicated. And finally, we have some references. Thanks for your attention.